What's good, everybody? We are back again with another video, man. Today we are here to talk about a specific player, sort of like yesterday. I'm not going to be breaking down the film this time. I just had the highlights in the back. But we're breaking down another player, and his name is Jrue Holiday. For years and years and years, Jrue Holiday had this one notion about him that a lot of people called him underrated, which was true. Even NBA players called him underrated. Damian Lillard went on whatchamacallit's podcast. He went on the Knuckleheads podcast, and he went on JJ Redick's podcast and said Jrue Holiday is one of the hardest players to go against, and is really underrated. Plenty of NBA players called him underrated. But then we go into the playoffs last year. He's finally playing winning basketball again. He's on a team that actually has a chance to contend. And not gonna lie, in the playoffs itself, not the finals, in the playoffs, he played bad. He played bad. He had a couple good games, like I want to say Game 5 or Game 6 against the Hawks. He had a real good game. Game 5 against the Nets, he had a good game. And then the game against the Heat, he didn't really have any bad games. Like, the whole team, they beat the Heat by committee. Nobody dominated. I think Giannis averaged like 20 and 10 that series. Nobody dominated, so he didn't really have a bad game that series. But the Nets in the Hawks series, he was pretty bad. And a lot of people started to call him overrated. A lot of people saying he's just not ready for the moment. He's not good enough for the moment. And this is why people really didn't talk about him. And that was completely false, because then you go into the finals. Yes, he didn't have a good finals offensively. Well, scoring, actually. He was a really good playmaker that finals. I think that went really under the radar. But the one thing that he did in that finals was he shut Chris Paul down. Chris Paul was having one of the best playoff runs we've seen in a long time. Dominating the Clippers, dominating the Nuggets. And then going to the finals, Chris Paul was terrible. He was god-awful. It was D-Book out there by himself. The first two games they won as a committee, and D-Book dogged those first two games. But then after game 2, bro, not just the Suns, Chris Paul had a terrible series, and big part of that was Jrue Holiday. Jrue Holiday clamped Chris Paul up so bad that whole series, bro. He was making Chris Paul play so hesitant, play so passive, and it was bad for Chris Paul, bro. It kind of got bad for Chris Paul, because Jrue Holiday is one of the best defenders in the league right now, and he really couldn't do nothing. He's too strong. Jrue Holiday's too strong for Chris Paul. He's too quick for Chris Paul at this age. And he just strapped him up. And Jrue Holiday was having a bad series offensively that whole series. But then you go into the game 5 where they really needed to win in Phoenix. And he completely dogged. They came out slow. I remember I was coming home from Six Flags in New Jersey. I live in Maryland. And they were getting blown up by like 20 in the first half. And I'm like, yeah. This game's over. They're about to go down 3-2. And then all of a sudden, I get home. It's a tie game. We're coming down to a close game. I'm like, yo, what the hell? Where did this come from, bro? And to figure out, Jrue Holiday was dogging them. Getting to his shots. Actually hitting to his shots. Actually finishing around the rim. Something he had a problem with in the playoffs. That whole playoff series. He was having problems with finishing around the rim. He was actually finishing around the rim a lot. And he was scoring. And he kind of carried that team that first 3 quarters of that series, and then at the end, Giannis and Chris Middleton kind of woke up. And then y'all know what happened after that. He had that big steal on Devin Booker that kind of sealed the series for me. That steal and that N1 by Giannis kind of sealed the series for me. And for him to throw that alley-oop pass, like people say, that took a lot of guts, because he easily could have ran the clock out and just waited for somebody to foul him. But to throw that alley-oop play to Giannis, that took a lot of guts. And he ended up winning the championship. But then you go into the USA basketball. They were playing terrible. And then they sent Jrue Holiday, Devin Booker, and Chris Middleton over there. And literally the day that they got there on a 16-hour flight to Japan, Jrue Holiday played, and they ended up winning that game. He ended up winning that game for them. And you even had players on that team. Draymond Green said, without Jrue Holiday, we would not have won. So he kind of got a lot of notoriety. I don't even know how to say that word. He kind of got a lot of eyes on him this all season, especially with the finals and then USA basketball. But then going into the season, he was still a little underrated. Like, when people came out with their top 10 point guards list, sometimes I didn't even see him on there, and that's just crazy. But then going into this year, this first half of the season, I think Jrue Holiday has got even better. In the beginning of the season, he started off slow. A lot of players started off slow. A lot of people say this because they got a new basketball or some shit. Like they're with the Wilson now and not with Spalding no more. But a lot of players started off slow. And he was one of those players. He started off really slow. But then Giannis and Chris Middleton got hurt. And he stepped it up a lot. He stepped it up a lot. Ever since, he's been averaging 21 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, while shooting 56 from the field, 41 from the three. It is January 5th. That is a month and some days. He's been averaging those numbers, and the team has been winning. They've been dealing with a lot of injuries, bro. Giannis went out with COVID, and he went out when he was hurt. Grayson Allen went out with COVID. Dante DiVincenzo didn't play the whole year, but then when he was about to play, he caught COVID. Bobby Portis caught COVID. I feel like I haven't seen Brook Lopez play since the first game. Ronnie Hood, George Hill, they're always out. Like, this team dealt with so many injuries, but when you look at the standings, they're the 3rd seed in the East. And Jrue Holiday is a huge part of that. A huge part of that. I just showed y'all the numbers. 21, 7, and 4 while shooting 56 from the field. He started off slow in scoring, and I was one of those people that even think about this. And Jrue Holiday is one of my favorite players. I'm like, bro, is scoring starting to decline? Because you see in the playoffs, he wasn't really scoring a lot. And then in USA basketball, I didn't really score that much. And then starting off the season, he wasn't scoring that much at all. And I'm like, oh, he's kind of starting to decline. But then when Giannis and Chris Middleton went out, I don't know what happened to him and what he started to think. But, bro, he started carrying the Bucks. And I feel like that went under the radar a lot. The Bucks are a 3 seed. Giannis has missed over 8 games. Chris Middleton has missed a lot of games. I think he went out with something in his quad last week. But he's back now. And then a couple weeks ago, he went out with something else. He's missed a lot of games, and he's been kind of playing on and off. He's not really playing that good. But Jrue Holiday has been carrying them low-key. Giannis has been doing this thing, of course. He's top 3 in the MVP race. But when he was out, Jrue Holiday was holding this team down. Now, when you come to the All-Star game, when you look at the spots, bro, I hate how the positions are, especially like a guy like Jaylen Brown. He's listed as a guard. DeMar DeRozan listed as a guard. He hasn't played guard since he was in Toronto. And the Spurs, they moved him to a 4. This year, he's playing the 3 and the 4. Why the hell is he labeled as a guard? That makes no sense. That's taking away somebody's spot. And it might be Jrue Holiday's. But I feel like Jrue Holiday deserved to be an All-Star. When I look at guards in the East, the only guards I would say having a better season than him all around, and I'm talking about team record, how you're playing, how you're helping the team, Trae Young, Darius Garland, and you can have an argument of James Harden, but I'm putting Jrue Holiday over James Harden. Jrue Holiday has been criminally underrated this whole season. And I don't know when he's going to start getting his respect. I really hope the coaches and the players that have a say in the All-Star voting can get him into this All-Star game, because I really feel like he deserves it. But he needs to get talked about a lot more. I see a lot of people starting to bring up Fred VanVleet's name. And I understand that Fred's been hooping, but he just started hooping. Like late last month. He just started hooping. He was kind of consistent, though. I'm not going to say that. He was averaging 18 and 6 and 5 for the longest. But I can't play him over Jrue Holiday. Jrue Holiday, for the last month and a couple of days, he has been hooping his ass off. And he was hooping with Giannis before Giannis and Chris got hurt. He started off the first couple of weeks pretty slow. But after that, he was playing pretty decent. He was a good third option to Chris and Giannis. But then when they got hurt, I don't know what he did, but he turned up. And I feel like he deserves an All-Star spot, bro. The only safe guards I will put over him is, sucks that DeMar is labeled as a guard, but I'll put DeMar over him. I'll put Zach. I'll put Trae. Even Darius, if I take my bias out, even Darius, that's an argument. Because the Bucks are a 3rd seed. They deserve 2 All-Stars. We're getting 1 All-Star. Jared Allen is the second best, has been playing as the second best center in the East. He deserves to be an All-Star. I don't know about Darius. I really want Darius to make it so bad. One of my favorite players since high school. But if I take my bias out, Jrue deserves Darius. And I think he deserves it over Harden. Jrue has been hooping. So, but that's it for this video. Probably be back tomorrow if I think about a topic. But other than that, I might do my All-Star Belling probably tomorrow, Friday, because that's going to be a long video. It's going to take a lot of notes I got to write down. So I'll see y'all then.